What's up, guys? We're back here at maintenance. Week 1 is in the books here of Archeworld. So, as you may know now, every week on Wednesday around noon to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, they do the maintenance, and the website goes down as well. You can still check out the borrow portal, and you can see the price of the token and things like that. But this video, let's do a recap of the week where what mistakes and predictions were wrong of ours, what predictions we got right, correct, and just talk about the weekend review here while we are in maintenance. So first off, let's talk about the BSLT price. So I did think the price was going to go up. We did see a little bit going up to 28, and then XL Games made an announcement that BSLT was going to be kind of like, they didn't want it to moon, essentially, and that they're going to sell more of their earnings and give more to the liquidity pool, and that brought the price back down. And so pretty much they're controlling the price downwards right now. So I guess to say for my prediction, it was a little bit further out, right? We didn't say it was going to go skyrocket in 1 week. We're still holding steady. We think next week, 2 weeks into the server, we should see, close to 50 cents is my guess. So on this one, we're going to put like maybe I was wrong. Price didn't really go up much from the beginning of the server. It was at 22, 23 cents, up a little bit, nothing too crazy. So yeah, we'll say slightly wrong on this one right here, right? All right, so next up, let's talk about the roulette wheel. Okay, so we're going to go into our videos and give a refresher of kind of the things that I said here. So the roulette wheel, this right here, Archeworld 100 spins on roulette cash shop game. I was extremely negative about this on day one because in the roulette wheel you had, lucky scrolls, which those are actually, I was wrong on this, right? So lucky scrolls I said were garbage and probably the worst prize in the wheel. They still are probably the worst prize in the wheel, but they're not garbage. People are buying them for like 3 BSLT, and they are used to re-roll your stats. They aren't used to upgrade your gear or anything like that. So slightly wrong on that. The roulette wheel also didn't have as big of an impact on the game that I thought it would. So it's got BSLT in there, it's got labor, it's got Archean Brazers. That really didn't affect the game much. Like the labor price obviously has gone down faster than pretty much anyone anticipated, but I think in part that is because there's 2 servers and people are jumping on their land as soon as possible, and there's a lot more XL Games land to rent. So BSLT wheel roulettes, I think I was wrong on this. Didn't really have much of an effect in the game, and I think it didn't really matter at all. So again, wrong on that. Let's go further into labor. Labor pots. I did not expect labor pots to be this cheap this quickly, which is great for free-to-play players, right? So if you get a couple of BSLT, your first thing that you want to buy right now is labor pots so they can open up more coin purses and loot more stuff. Labor pots are down to about 3.7, 3.9 roughly right now on the South America server. So again, we touched on this before. It's probably because there is a lot more land and people put down tents right away because they know how good tents are. Tents making that free labor and then also making the Archeum. So right there, labor getting shot down so quickly. I do remember going to about 5 BSLT on the Asian server, and then they did a coin purse event. And so there's a thought that we might get a coin purse event coming up soon. The coin purse event was, hey, you go kill these mobs, and inside them there's these lucky coin purses, and they have a chance to open up a land NFT. So you could win a land NFT as a free-to-play player or as a paid player. Anyone could win. It was all RNG chance in these coin purses, and that skyrocketed the labor potions up to about 10 to 15 BSLT for a good couple of weeks. So we might see an event like that happen as well. Like this is probably also, we touched on this, why they opened up a second server. They wanted to have land to give away, and we are correct on that front, right? They did do some contests in Discord, and they are giving away server 2 land. So that was also part of the reason why they opened the second server. But then also, they had enough players. Right now, we saw queues sporadically through the first week on both servers, and it actually appears that server 2 has more people because I've seen queues more often there on server 2. And also, just recently, we had a big guild that actually just kind of abandoned server 1 and jumped to server 2, so that's going to add even more people to server 2. But I don't think the queues are going to last. I think the queues are going to go away this next week. I don't think we're going to see any more queues. So this is my prediction for week 2, because people do quit. People do quit and leave. Like, it's a fact of life, The hype is here for 1 week, 2 weeks, and most people end up leaving because also your gear is going to break. And if you don't have Archeum to repair your gear, which is one of the most common complaints, then you can't play the game really, or you feel super, super weak and you're not effective. And so Archeum gear repair cost is going to be more of an issue. We didn't see too much of that during the first week. There was a couple of people that were like, day one, I'm out of Archeum. How do I repair my gear? And it was like, do dailies? Like, wait for reset and do daily and get the Archeum to repair your gear? So, yeah, that was a thing there. But yeah, so I do think population will steadily decline for the near future until major updates happen. Maybe, but who knows? We could be wrong on this as well. If the population keeps going up and there's more queues and queues and queues, that's great for the game, right? More people coming in, and who knows? Like, I was shocked. There was a bunch of people actually on Twitch that were streaming, and there was way more viewership than ArcAge. Just saying, guys. So there was, maybe like 10 to 20 streamers or so with a few hundred viewers spread out through all of them, maybe about 1,000 total. I mean, not a huge amount of number by any stretch, right? No big deal. But like when you compare it to ArcAge had like 2 people and they had like 2 viewers each. Like no one was watching ArcAge or streaming ArcAge. So yeah. Viewership on Twitch is way higher than I anticipated. I didn't make a prediction on that, but that blew my expectations away, right, on the Twitch viewership. So let's see, what else did we talk about here? Auction house tips, the gear pricing. We did think the gears were going to go down cheaper faster, so we were wrong on this. Also, we thought that the tier 4 weapons were going to be 1 BSLT in a couple of days, and now they're still not 1 BSLT. They are only about like 10 BSLT right now for most weapons and armor. Or for most weapons, the armor is not that cheap. The armor you have to upgrade with scrolls, and so we're just now starting to see armor on the auction house for about 1,000 BSLT. But yeah, no one's bought any of that. So we haven't been infected with bots. That's the gist of it, right? So I thought that these tier 4 weapons, which you get for free in the story quests by making your character level 40 and progressing through the game, we're going to become 1 BSLT because that's what happened in Asia. And it hasn't because we don't have armies and armies of bots farming the game yet. Whatever anti-botting protection they're doing or using in this version, in this build, is working. Like, yes, there are going to be some people botting. Yes, there are going to be some people macroing. No, they're not going to catch everyone. They've said this time after time after time. But overall, we are not seeing trains and trains of bots. So, we didn't make a prediction on the bot train, but if I did, I would have thought that there would be at least comparable amount of bots from Asia, but they definitely have done way better on that. So also, then next up, like the gear rankings and the arena stuff. We saw a lot more people than I thought actually get over 13,000 gear score to get into the arena. We ended up in like 16th or 15th place on the arena ranking leaderboards, and there was a total of 20 people that went to the arena and did the arena that were 13,000 gear score or higher. So that was a lot more people than we thought that were actually into the arena and got there as quick as needed to be in those arena rankings. Unfortunately, what happened too with the gear score ranking is a lot of players, including myself actually, we got screwed. We didn't read the gear score ranking information in game. And so this is our fault. It says that the rankings will be calculated and you cannot jump in onto the ranking leaderboards one day at the end. Like, so at the end, when you got a whole week, and then for the last day, last 24 hours, you will not be able to register your gear on the leaderboards. So a lot of people waited till the end because they thought they were, like, I'm going to sneak on the leaderboards and register my character last minute, like that kind of process, right? But we didn't read, or in my case, I forgot that it was on there. And so I was unable to register my character, and I would have ended up getting like 25th place or something on leaderboards, but missing out on 150 BSLT. I think it was 150 BSLT. But yeah, so I didn't register, so I didn't get anything. So congrats to all the people that did register and did get on the leaderboards. There was a bunch of people, that are getting up there with some, lowish gear scores because a lot of people like myself did not do it properly. And it is all our fault. It's 100% our fault. So not the game company's fault. It was in game. It was in those instructions on there. You scroll over, it says 24 hours beforehand, you cannot register. It's going to be a calculation period at this time. So yes, the timer countdown thing might have been janky a little bit, but it did say one day before you cannot register. So you live, you learn, you move forward. That's all that you can do. Let's see, what else? What else? What else? We've got PvE raids. So, oh, okay, this one, server population. So population on servers is very debatable, right? We don't know. They don't have as hard numbers or anything like that. But my thought before the servers launches were server 2 is going to be the free farm, easy server, no whales. So we got that correct. We got the whale part right. There wasn't any whales on server 2 really. Server 1 has whales, and they are like dominating the gear score rankings, dominating the arena. Server 1 has the whale or whales. So server 2 is definitely the easier server. We were correct on this, but easy is subjective, right? So what we're hearing out of server 2 and players from server 2 is that server 2 is more of a free-for-all, fight for your own stuff, and, you know, no like alliances, no like 200-man raids working together to kill a boss, like no teamwork really. It's just kind of like a free-for-all, everyone for themselves. Kind of how Archeworld is designed, right? It's supposed to be a free-for-all. You know, everyone fights for their own loot and gets the stuff. Whereas Server 1 actually evolved into like a two-faction game. Server 1 became like SPG versus Kyrios and Hostile. And, you know, a couple other people on both sides, and it was just massive, massive alliances. It essentially became, like I said, you know, Faction 1 over here and Faction 2 fighting each other for control of the rifts. And pretty much there was a lot of PvP for the first couple of days. But then over time, you know, people quit and just, you know, quote unquote ran away. Like, you know, some of Faction 2, we'll say, ran away and is now moving to server 2 for whatever reason they want to say. But yeah, so now server 1 is kind of in like free farm mode, but it's not even free farm mode from like SPG. SPG is now like fighting a different guild, fighting like the Whales Guild, and like has drama with someone else. And then like, and you can see in the videos, like we PvE raid like and farm and kill monsters. Like there's, I think it's like Leaking has like this guild that just doesn't give a fuck about anyone and just like, I'm gonna go raid and just gonna go like, you know, you're welcome to come if you're high gear score, and like go and no one touches them type thing. Like it's very interesting. So server 1 is kind of like free farmish sometimes. There's been a lot of politics, a lot of drama in server 1. Like server 1 has gone kind of crazy, to be honest. Server 2 seems to be more just chill and just like do whatever the heck you want. And if you're in our way, we're going to mow you down or try to mow you down. So these servers are definitely very different than I thought. Server 2 I thought would be a lot more free farm, easy, you know, no PvP per se, and just kind of like one guild dominating. And that I don't think really happened on server 2. Please correct me if I'm wrong on this, if someone is dominating server 2. But from what I'm hearing, it doesn't sound like that. And then server 1 kind of now has turned into like one guild is kind of dominating, especially more the high-end contents, like the Whales Guild and like the Chinese Guild, I heard they're called or whatever. So it's very interesting, right? It looks like server 1 is a lot of old Asian players that jumped in to play North America. So my prediction for the future is that server 1 will actually probably die quicker than server 2, because server 2 seems to be more newer North America players, South America players that, you know, haven't experienced this game. And, you know, after a while, it does get boring and grindy, right? Like, well, let's call a spade a spade. The game is very, very grindy, especially as a free-to-play player. Like, if you're a paid player, it's less grindy because you can just swipe and spend money to buy your stuff, but it's still grindy at a certain point. You'll get to, you know, tier 5, tier 6 weapons or armors, and you'll be like, no, I don't want to spend $100,000. I'm gonna grind, and what? I need to grind, you know, 300 days. Like, yeah. So the game is grindy, no question about it. But yeah, so it seems like server 1 might actually be the server at risk of having a lower population in the future now. So my prediction before of server 2 being kind of questionable and easy server, I think we'll call that wrong as well. Server 1, I think, is probably the easier server in my opinion. Of course, if you are in, you know, hostile guilds and trying to force PvP to happen, you can have it anywhere, right? But if you're just kind of like minding your own business and doing your own stuff, I think server 1 is more chill in that regard. It's like people will let you be and just like, okay, Maybe on the final bosses, maybe on the fourth boss, there's a lot more PvP and contestation. But on the little minor bosses, like the video here, the PvE rating endgame, we had nobody contest us for Penhour runes for all 2 or 3 of these raids that we did. And then we jumped over and did a raid in I think it was Hell Swamp, and then they were like working together to kill the final boss in Hell Swamp. Like, just a lot of teamwork, a lot of coordination, a lot of like allies at this point. So we'll see how everything works and breaks out. But overall, I think a lot of my predictions actually end up being pretty wrong. Also, the land prediction. So we thought land prices were going to go up, and they have actually gone down a little bit. Land prices are still very, very cheap. And this probably has to do with the fact that server 2 exists and land is not full yet, which, it'll take some time. I think we are going to see land probably fill up starting this week. Most of the land in server 2, or server 1, I should say, my home server, is actually filling up right now. Like, server 1 land is getting harder to find, especially the small lands. You're still going to see mediums, you're going to still see larges, definitely extra larges, and those megas you'll like always see because those are not very good, but like the small lands are definitely harder to come by now. You can find them, they're out there, but they're harder to come by. So anyway, this is a recap of week 1. Let me know what your thoughts are of week 1. How was your week 1 experience in Archeworld? Did you try it out? If you haven't, it is still early game, man. Like, again, you're going to be grinding for months as a free-to-play player. Most players are going to be stuck around like 11,000 gear score for months. And even the paid players will get stuck around maybe like 13 to 15,000 gear score. And that's a difference, right? There's a 4,000 point gap at the high end, but it's not unbearable. Like, you can still kill a 15k gear score person as an 11k gear score person. It's going to be very, very difficult, and you want to have friends to help you do it. But yeah, it is possible. And if you want to see me failing, go check out the Arena PvP video that's uploading soon. And you'll see me getting my ass whooped for like 9 straight matches in PvP because I suck at PvP. Anyway, guys, I will talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching. As always, hit that like button if you haven't subscribed to the channel. And I'd love to hear from you. Please drop comments. Chat with me. That's why we're here.